So, we begin the very next episode off with the previously on My Little Pony. Then, after being caught up on what happened in the first episode, we see Twilight run off towards the library and Rainbow Dash trying to stop her. We then see everyone, well, every pony, caught up at the library and are discussing a plan as to what to do next. Twilight eventually decides that she must go and find the elements of harmony in the Everfree Forest. She insists that she must do it alone and she doesn't want to risk them getting hurt anyway. But every pony insists that they aren't going to leave their friend behind, much to Twilight's displeasure. They then head off into the forest. As they are going on, they start to get scared, so Rainbow Dash doesn't help to ease their fears. Rainbow Dash then scares them, making the cliff break and every pony fall. But it wasn't her fault, as it was a blue smoke. They then save every pony and start to go on again when the Manticore is upset and tries to hurt them. Every pony tries to hurt it, not hearing Fluttershy say stop. They eventually do, and Fluttershy uses her ability to talk to animals to figure out what's wrong. And it turns out it was just a thorn. They then continue their journey, but then Rarity says how dirty they're getting, and then they start to argue a little bit how dark it is too. Twilight then lights her horn to see scary faces on the tree, and they all scream like girls. Except Pinkie Pie, she laughs. Then we get our first song in the series, Giggle at the Ghosties. After they all laugh, they go on once again. They come across a river, and we meet Stephen Magnet, the sea serpent, who is upset over getting his mustache chopped off by some blue smoke. Rarity then grabs one of his scales and chops off her own tail and uses some magic to integrate her hair into his face and give him a full mustache. He lets them across the river. They finally make it to the castle of the two sisters, but there is a slight problem. The bridge is not attached to both sides. Rainbow Dash then reminds everyone that she has wings, and then flies down and attaches the bridge to the other side. And then she meets the Shadow Bolts, who try to make her choose between her dreams and her friends. She chooses her friends, of course. After explaining what took so long to Twilight, she starts to see that having friends might not be so bad after all. They then go in and find the elements of harmony, but there's only 5 when there's supposed to be 6. Twilight then asks them to leave so she can concentrate on a spell to get the 6th element to show up. As Twilight is trying to do a spell, Nightmare Moon shows up and takes them with her to the building next door. Twilight jumps in before the teleportation spell disappears. Her friends hear her, they run over. It cuts to Nightmare Moon destroying the elements. Then, just when all hope is lost, Twilight realizes something. She needed the spark to get the 6th element. She then realizes that she and her friends represent the elements of harmony. Applejack honesty, Pinkie Pie laughter, Fluttershy kindness, Rarity generosity, Rainbow Dash loyalty, and then herself the element of magic. They then use the element of harmony to defeat Nightmare Moon. Then Celestia appears from the sun and greets Princess Luna, who we then realize was Nightmare Moon 2 seconds ago. She's then forgiven, and we cut to Ponyville as Celestia tells Twilight that she can go back to Canterlot as her studies are done here in Ponyville. But Twilight decides to stay and continue her studies there in Ponyville with her friends. And that's a wrap for the second episode in season 1. Now, I know I probably got the order wrong as to what happened, but I'm doing it from memory. So, yeah, cut me some slack, please. See you next week for season 1, episode 3.